Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I am the host of Can We Talk? I'm an educator, a motivator, and a talk connoisseur. Today, we continue our series on Can We Talk Politics? Based on the current landscape, we want to feature some of the persons who are putting themselves forward for political leadership and political office. So today, I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Kareem Hanchel. He's putting himself forward as an independent candidate for Garden Hills. And at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to him to have him introduce himself.
Yes, good evening, Miss Moss, and good evening to your viewers. Evening, Bahamas. As Miss Moss said, my name is Kareem Hanchel. I am a aspirant independent candidate seeking election nomination for the great constituency of Adnets. Who am I? I am 38 years of age. Okay, I want to give an understanding. I studied at preschool, It's a Small World, primary school, CW Sawyer, high school, Lacoste College. I partially went to COB for about a year or two before University of Michigan, where I obtained a degree in computer information systems. Back home, worked for about a few years. Sandals. If you're familiar with sandals, I worked in Crystal Room, White Glove, funding service. Then I went to Aura nightclub, funding service. If anybody familiar with that service, where we did a lot of high-end clients. From Aura, I started my second business. My first business was started part of 2001, which was a window cleaning business, and then we built expanded services into crushing, renovation, construction, and fencing. I was doing that part-time, working part-time, running my linen business, second business in 2008, and the linen business. I would try a lot left as a employee. I would half years spent to entrepreneurship, started to do a lot of art promotion. I get up and investing in created a platform to highlight local artists where I every weekend and lunch jacks I put on show to feature Bahamian artists such as Drino, Kilograms,
Mr. Hanchel, I just want to pause you for a minute, just because I'm getting some feedback from you. I don't know if you have on another, if you have your phone nearby or something that's causing the feedback or echo.
Hello, 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Yeah, I can hear you.
Feedback. So there.
Continue.
Okay. So I think local artists. In 2011, I shifted into business development because I recognized that brick and mortar businesses was going to be a way of the past. Recognized payment was going to be a way of the past, and self-employment and contractual relations within the way. So I with government to see how we transition more persons from businesses and for 2015, I worked on the project, see the project. Into after.
Hi, Mr. Hanchel. There's still some feedback. There's still some feedback on your end.
Yeah. You want me to send them time back that work?
Sorry?
You want to sign back in? Someone sign back in and see if you'll get a bit of feedback?
Sure, you can.
What for you?
Yeah.
Give me a second. I'm going to do that.
Okay, so we will wait for Mr. Hanchel to log back in because he had some feedback on his end. But he is putting in his nomination he's presenting himself as an independent candidate for the Garden Hills constituency. And so he should be able to log back in. And okay, I see him coming back in. So hopefully this will be able to have better, less feedback. So he is connecting. Okay, Mr. Hancho, welcome again.
Okay, can you hear me now? How's it now?
Definitely, that's much better.
Okay, good. So let's get back online.
Yeah.
Now, I spent a few years from 2009 to 2016 promoting Bahamian artists, and in that process, I was working as a consultant to government, traveling around the Bahamas to different islands, surveying them on a small business component to determine different needs that small businesses have and what solutions can be added. And so certain things happened that I disagreed with what was happening in the country, such as VAT implementation that I was opposing, allocation of capital that was supposed to be submitted or put aside for small businesses during the PLP administration. That wasn't happening as what they was communicating publicly. When you go privately into these operations and you find that persons are being paid so much money of taxpayers' money to do plans that they fail. You know, we are talking about plans that's supposed to come into fruition for years ago, but we have never seen them to light. But consultants like myself are being paid. So I just decided to start working with government, and I was given an opportunity to work with SPDC as a consultant, which I turned down because, again, the way the business model was set up, it was not in the best position for the country. And it was not a win-win for small businesses. And so I only saw persons as a consultant as myself being able to make a whole lot of monies, but not actually creating results that you should as a consultant. So I decided not to participate. And so politics then became the front runner because I recognized that the current system of governance, which is based on party governance and leadership, does not necessarily benefit the entire country. For example, you look at the way we write the VAT is handled in the country. I'm a business owner, okay, but I don't pass VAT on to clients because I do not support the way VAT is. Currently, VAT has we don't have a POS system that the government owns, which means there's no true accountability and transparency. Secondly, we allow politicians to write policies in place to protect small interest groups or foreigners who collect VAT, but they don't have to collect or submit VAT collections daily. And as a business owner, I don't know who would actually allow someone to collect my money for 90 days without submitting it for me to be able to benefit. And then to know that our country is always borrowing money in a time when we have no true understanding of how much money that we collect daily from VAT to even contribute to our daily operating costs as a country. Everything is always forecasted, so it's never really an actual. I guess we don't operate the government, and we don't function the government accordingly to how good we function private businesses. Because you find that a lot of our politicians, they are private business owners and they have successful businesses privately, but they come in public office and we failing in public office in relation to creating wealth for Bahamians as a whole. Okay, and so for me, there's so much things that when you examine politics and the way we represent constituencies, I ask myself as a young man, 38, why after all this time, we don't have a constituency bank or bank for every constituency? Why is it that we have a government-owned bank that is poorly managed, okay? But then you have a private bank like Commonwealth Bank that is well managed by a politician that works for the people as the financial services minister then, Mr. Brent Simonet, to be having the financial services as the country poorly managed, okay? So these are things I try to understand. If they want to come into public office to work for the people, then I would think then working for the people means providing quality service so we can get the best out of our systems to benefit Bahamian. Okay, and so I do have a lot of, I guess, experience, as I say, creating pilots. I started a business incubator in 2012. You're familiar with business incubations, the value and the importance and benefits of those to the country. And so in my tenure, I plan to provide a lot of my private pilots and projects that I funded. I want to bring them public so it can now benefit us as a country versus me privately.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And you would have talked a little bit about your background and what kind of led you into putting yourself forward. But can you tell us why you chose to go independent as a
Very good.
candidate?
Very good. If we recognize the power, what it means to be independent, I had the options to go party because when I first got involved with politics, it was in 2012 when I moved in South Beach. I was very active with Ms. Cleola Hamilton, who was then the PLP candidate, MP. But we had a pass. I was pushing or advocating for more human investment. I recognize that no matter how big the building you have, if you don't have the intellect capacity to manage the building, you could not maximize the potential of the building or the people or the systems you put in place. And so I'm saying that goals, politicians have every year they come into office, they want to build buildings, but very rarely want to implement or place or put allocations aside for human investments, human capital development. And this is where we are failing as a country. You read time after time, corporations and private sectors always been having challenges with our intellectual capacity as a country, being able to now take us to the next level, and why we have a fight with seeing them bring in foreigners to fill in positions that generally Bahamians should be filling in. But because we don't have a true human capital development plan as a nation that focuses on one, not only helping those that fail from high school, but also empowering those who are actually successful out of high school. Okay, we spend a lot of money trying to help those who fail versus those who are actually doing well in school. Okay, and so when I recognized that Ms. Hamilton could not make decisions for South Beach because she was under a mandate by a party, and if her decision as an individual that she feels is best for the community was not in line with what the party want to do at the time, it doesn't happen. So I started to then dive into the understanding of the power of independent representation. What I recognize is our country has always steer us as youths from looking at the benefit of an independent representation in the country. They don't teach us about independent leaders that we had in the past. Okay. So we never know how effective could an independent be when talking about leading a constituency with people. Because leaders don't, because you really don't need a party to be successful in leading a constituency. And so because I recognize that, that made it more easier for me to make the transition and promote independent representation, which means I go in parliament to speak on issues that affect the Bahamian people, regardless of their party influence. Once it's not in the best interest of Bahamians, I oppose it. And if it's in the best interest of Bahamians, I support it. I am not there to be a problem to any government, but to ensure that government put forward policies that are to benefit Bahamians. For example, that's why I'm so adamant about changing the policy for VAT, because it was not written to empower Bahamians or have Bahamians economy when you allow me as a VAT registered business to collect your money, Ms. Morris, every day, and you can't use it, and I could use it, and it's okay, that's a problem. Because you need money every day. You in business, the government need money every day, and every day we hear the government talk about the need for money, but yet they would ever say put in place a proper POS system to ensure that every transaction made at the point of sale system from VAT registered businesses are actually accounted for, and we could now be able to have records to show daily receipts. So even if we don't get the monies daily, we can know true accounting of what is being collected at these registered businesses. Secondly, just like how we could open up a VAT or a COVID agency or ministry just to handle COVID business, the inland's supposed to open up a VAT unit to ensure that we have persons who are able to go into these registered businesses and collect the Bahamian people money, and to make sure that it's collected, submitted on the Bahamian people account, so they can have capital to work with, to then determine what or how much money I need to borrow. But we allow private citizens to keep millions of dollars daily when you look at how much is collected daily. If we really knew how much money Rupert Roberts really collects, nobody really knows. So that's why I go in Parliament. That's why I go in government, to protect the Bahamian people and to always allow the Bahamian people to know and to identify problems. They have someone in the house that's speaking up for them. That's not controlled by party. That's not controlled by private donors. That's why I'm pushing for campaign for finance reform, because I am my only donor currently. My business, Fancy Rasta, is sponsoring my company, my campaign. Right now, we have parties that we don't even know who's sponsoring them. And we wonder why when they win, they go and host and make decisions that go against Bahamians, but for special interest groups or private donors who they have to return favors for that money. So we have to first figure out who giving these parties money and why. What is in return? Do you want to support Hand Chill campaign? Buy some shirts. I design shirts specifically for persons that want to support my campaign, so we can have a true understanding of how Hand Chill is raising his campaign finance, and he's not being controlled by these rich people who want to come in my country to control my politicians, to put in policies in place to benefit foreigners and abuse Bahamians in the Bahamas. Come on. I can't grow no
Well,
old.
thank you for that point. Thank you for sharing that. That's an awesome point. You talk about VAT regulation, and I just wanted to plug in that you do have inland revenue, and I think inland revenue does play a role in the VAT agency. I think there is a VAT agency within inland revenue, so I just wanted to point that out.
It is a unit. I know there's a unit, but it's not performing to the level that it's supposed to. Understand? We have a unit that tells us how many people are sick every day, right? We have a unit that is on at parties. The minute you have a party, you have the COVID police shutting down people. We're so adamant pushing vaccines, right? We're not even talking about eating the right food to build our immunity. We're talking about an altered virus, a natural virus that was altered by man, which we have not yet charged nobody for even this crime against the world, okay? But we are focusing on allowing a portion of the world to create a problem, a health crisis for the world without penalty, but then force citizens to not adhere to this world program to take a vaccine that we don't know nothing about what's in it, okay? When we have natural products that are growing that we could take to boost our immunity to protect each other. We have no medical facilities to even study our own research on the matter. We don't have our own facilities to create our own antigen tests. If you Google Ethiopia during COVID, Ethiopia, a Black nation, created their own antigen tests, okay? Ethiopia during COVID was the only airline globally that was still operational and making a profit, because they took a proactive approach to COVID. The European nations, the white nations didn't do this, but we as a Black nation continuously listen to white nations tell us how to govern the Black nation. That don't make no sense. And we don't even look at the Black nations that are working and governing their countries properly as examples. But you want me to listen to Europe. You want me to listen to America every day, but I know of Black nations that are doing well. I believe in Miss Deidre Moss as a Black woman to provide solutions for the Black people of the Bahamas. I don't need the Hollow West Coast no more to tell me what to do. Okay, I don't need the Roy Solomon seniors and all of these rich oligarchs, white, and also the Black oligarchs who have taken on their role in today. Because like I tell my wife, racism in the Bahamas is no longer white and Black. That was what Pinland fought for. In 2001, we have racism between rich and poor, where rich people believe the government is their business to make who they want make rich. And the average citizen, whether you have the potential to do things to make you rich, should not apply. Why?
Well, those are some interesting points, and those are definitely discussions that we can dive into. But this platform, we're all inclusive, so we welcome everyone.
Yeah.
So we just want to say we want to stay on target. So let's talk about your constituency.
Yes.
Yes, let's talk about your constituency.
Okay.
So, what is your constituency, and what do you think needs to be improved, and how are you going to, or how do you intend to improve your constituency?
Okay, very good. Let me connect to this constituency so Gardners can understand who I am. I was born in Gardners. My neighbors are in Gardners. I grew up in Gardners all my life. Okay, Gardners is all I know. The first time I left Gardners was to go off to school. Okay, I understand the mindset of Gardners. Gardners is my people. Outside of the Bahamas, Gardners is home. I'm in a position now to bring something to the table. I have plans. I recognize that success starts with infrastructure. There are just certain key infrastructures that one should have in order to create successful economies. Gardners does not have the infrastructures, or we don't own the infrastructures that will allow us to be, or to create systems to create wealth, generational wealth. We don't, like I talked about, we don't have a constituency university. I want to establish a Gardners University to link to my university to create relationships, global relationships. We don't have a Gardners hospital. We need a Gardners hospital, okay, where we could start to take it to the next level and start to have medical research breakthroughs. My daughter is diabetic, okay? I am interested in medical breakthroughs for diabetics and diabetes. Me and my wife provide a lot of research for on our own. We had to learn because of our daughter. And so we don't have sufficient facilities that cater to medical breakthroughs, and Gardners could become a pioneer in medical breakthroughs, not just treatments, but actually cures. We don't have a financial institution that caters to, we don't have a bank. Okay, how could you become financially free if you don't control your financial infrastructure? Okay, you still banking at all these foreign banks such as RBC, Scotiabank, and the domestic banks, Commonwealth Bank and Bank of the Bahamas, but as a bank ownership, those fees that you pay now come back to you in dividends. Okay, you could now cater loans to fit your budget. Instead of having predatory loans, we could create loans in favor. I don't have to have compounded interest loans. I could have simple interest loans. I don't have to have 7.5% interest loans. I could have 2% interest loans. The goal of the bank is not to get rich, but to allow access to capital and to allow Garden Hills to be able to pay it back and also to grow themselves economically. Owning the financial infrastructure allows us to move into digital infrastructure. So now digital banking becomes reality. Gardners could have its own digital currency or cryptocurrency, okay? What that does now is, now that we now control and own the financial institution or sector of the constituency, we now could invest in small business development. So the goal is to create more small businesses in homes, so more home-based businesses. We have a lot of unemployment. So my goal through assessment is to convert unemployed persons to self-employed persons by targeting service-oriented businesses initially, okay? We're able to create platforms, trading platforms, digital trading platforms to allow persons to get their products out to various markets for sale globally and domestically. We recognize that we have to bring more monies into the constituency. So we need to now build a strong merchant base that is able to sell products and services to global markets, that where we can now improve export of products to global our markets. Okay, we're talking about positioning Bahamians to now solicit and to attract foreign investors. Do you know, Ms. Moss, that in North America alone, there are 10 millionaires to one Bahamian with a disposable income of $1 million ready for investment? We don't have a government that promotes that. Okay, you talk about 300,000 people, that there are 10 millionaires just in North America alone. We ain't talking about Asia. We ain't talking about Africa. We ain't talking about the Caribbean, Europe. We're talking about just in North America. We're not talking about Canada. We're talking about North America alone. There's 10 millionaires to one Bahamian. And you tell me that every Bahamian can't get an investor for their idea or plan? Okay, you tell me that all these politicians in the past couldn't start a constituency bank, couldn't do these things that I talking as a young man, couldn't connect them constituents with their university because they say they've gone off to school and come up with these degrees. They couldn't create relationships for Bahamians. Come on, but they travel everywhere on these budgets that the Bahamian people have to pay through their tax. Okay, I told the government in 2015 that VAT was regressive. Okay, we have a country that the foreign tax bodies are begging our leaders to tax the foreign rich people in this country who are getting away with no taxes. No taxes to this day. From 2012, from when I started to know that rich people are taking advantage of my country to now. How do I sleep at night? I can't sleep. You see? Now, once we establish these infrastructures, once we establish the local government, because what's the value of the local government? Local government is to mirror or be a reflection of cabinet to deal with grievances. Establishing a council where we have an elect member from to represent each polling division allows us to open up communication, because communication is key. Technology, we're talking about, right now I'm starting to compile just to let them know, I'm compiling polling division in WhatsApp group based on polling division. So as I go around, I add people to polling divisions for my Garden Hill so I can communicate to people specifically to their polling division if it's a polling division issue, or to gardeners in general, okay? And we're able to micromanage the way we communicate with our constituency. I have no intentions to have a physical office as primary means to communicate with me. The same way that people campaigning, I come into your house, it's the same way I expect gardeners to call me and say, Angel, are you free? And they could book my 15 minutes and I could drive to them every day they need to see me. My goal is to spend 8 hours a day in my constituency because that's what members of parliament are hired to do. Not to put cabinet business first, but to put constituency business first. Okay? I come in to be a true representation of Garden Hills and to function as a true member of parliament outside of being able to be directed by the constituents and their needs and to create solutions and systems to solve their needs and to provide for their needs.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. So I heard you talk about you talk about the university within the community, and then you talk about a hospital within your community as well. And then you also want to open up, make room available for communication with your constituents. So I want to thank you for sharing that. And so as you put yourself forward as a independent candidate to run in the Garden Hills constituency, what challenges have you encountered? What is your greatest challenge? And what is your greatest reward as it pertains to you entering the realm of political office or putting yourself forward for political office?
Okay. The greatest challenge that we can face going forward, and as I said to Gardners, that I have no intentions of solving this problem for the F&M, okay? Because this is the F&M time, right? It's only fair that if you choose someone to lead you, it's only fair that I allow them to either fail or succeed. I don't have no intentions to do the F&M job or the PLP job or any other person job, and they then live the fruits of the seat. Why am I paying you to perform a duty that you're not performing? I might shall fire you first, hire the person that is showing promise and allow him to either fail or succeed. So the greatest challenge in achieving anything that you heard that we want to do in far as transitioning or shifting Gardners from poverty, economic poverty to economic prosperity is access to capital, being able to determine how do we take nothing and make it into something. Hanchel, you know you're gonna need money to invest. You know you're gonna need money for scholarships. You know you're gonna need money to feed people. You know you're gonna need money. So the first thing I need to identify is how do we eliminate certain costs from Garden Hills that will allow them to now save money. Let's talk about energy. Okay, energy. Okay, see, strategic financing is what we have to do. And understanding that through crowdfunding, if you're familiar with crowdfunding is going to be the approach in order to now liquidize the banking, Gardners Bank, to allow people to buy, allow Gardners to buy into the bank initially to create liquid along with whatever funds available from constituency, okay, and from my personal or private life, okay, to now hold as our collateral. Now, would we put this money into, or how do we expand revenues is to allow persons outside of Gardners to buy into our bank. So persons outside of Gardners, you still will be able to participate and enjoy what Gardners has created for Garden Hills, okay? Energy savings, getting persons to transition from fuel to electric, meaning finding ways for persons to own electric vehicles is a great way for Ms. Deidre Moss to create savings for herself. Okay, all that gas and all that service and all that money you spend on that fuel injected car, an electric car now provides you relief. Okay, now you have savings. Your salary didn't go up, but you was able from a transition from us being able to find a way to get you to afford a car, an electric car. I'm able to help you save on how much money you spend. How much money you spend on gas a week, Ms. Deidre, just to kind of make it real?
I would say between $10 to $20
a week,
a day.
Oh, Jesus Christ! So you're talking about 6 days a week because you're off on the Sabbath. So that's at $20 a day times 6. That's $120 a week times 4. That's what? $480 a month times 10 months. That's $4,080 and $10 that I save you in 10 months. Plus you get 2 extra months of $480 I save you. That's money for savings. That's off your electric.
So Mr. Hancho, you saying if I were in your constituency in Garden Hills, you would be able to allocate electric cars for your constituents? That's something that you want to work towards?
Yes, that is my goal. Now, understand, Miss Moss. If I'm able to facilitate position Ms. Moss to take her savings of $480 and use as a payment for a car, okay, that's some money. So now she doesn't know how she can pay for the car. You understand? Okay, good. Now she have $480 every month coming in. She could do something. So let's say Ms. Deidre is the only one in her house who working. So now I need to identify who in our house we could take and put them into their own self-employed home-based business or mobile or online business to help create more revenues for the home. Okay, so now we moving. So now not only Deidre Moss could be the only sole proprietor in the house. Outside of that, let's transition our home to energy saving. So now we convert you to solar and we make you into a power producer. So now instead of you spending money with BEC, you not only giving BEC power to sell, you also getting paid for this power.
So I get an electrical car and I get a solar panel.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you gotta be able to know that we get limited. How much your electrical bill is a month? Talk to me. Because I ain't talking to you. Let me talk to you. How much you pay for electricity a month if you was my constituency right now? Let me talk to my constituency. We campaigning right now, so let me talk to you. How much you pay for electricity right now?
Let's do it. Let's do an average. Let's do average of let's say 150 in general. Let's just say
Okay,
150.
so you pay 150. So if you pay 150, let's say that's doable. So let's not use 150 because $150 a month, that's workable. That means you aren't really burning too much. You know, I mean, let's look at people maybe paying $300-400 a month on electricity bill. Okay. The average system, let's say it costs you $20,000 for the system, right? So you divide $300 into 20,000. That tells you how much months you have to source this electricity bill towards. Instead of going to BEC, just go into your loan for your solar system and hybrid system. So outside of your savings for your electricity bill, you also now being paid for the power that you're producing for BEC to sell to the world. Because I don't believe in corporate power producers. I believe in individual or household power producers spread out across the length of the Bahamas. So we can now diversify power. See, when you like BEC is fuel, but what happens is in that model, you have one corporation controlling the power versus being able to subsidize power by taking how much power you need to create for your shortfall, determine how much homes you need to outfit with solar to create that shortfall, and to spread that amount of homes across the entire Bahamas. So every community or constituency could have a portion of homes converted to solar who are now being paid to create or produce power for the country. What this does now, DG, is the cost for fuel reduces. So my country now doesn't pay more for fuel. Fossil fuel cost reduces. So now the money that we usually were spending on fossil fuel, we're now going to use to upgrade BEC. So I don't need to go buy or find money for BEC because I can save you. But because we have to buy fuel from these few Bahamians who selling fuel to the government to keep them rich, we have to act like we only fuel we have to sell. We all know who the Bahamian are, who benefits from fuel sale from the government. I want that to stop because that is abusing and it's taking advantage of the Bahamian people who can't afford energy, and there are alternative solutions, viable and real-time now solutions that we could implement to help Bahamians that are suffering. Listen, if we go on,
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for sharing that. And I just wanted to plug in. It's a mystery to me. Being in the country of sun, sand, and sea.
Yeah.
Why aren't we able to harness solar energy? That is one of the biggest mysteries.
We can.
I mean,
listen,
I don't know if you can give me any insight on that.
I'm not rich. I'm not rich because my model, okay, I'm community. How do you know a man is community minded? Before I answer that, I want us to first identify the community minded leader. When I come into the community, I don't come into the community to see how much money I can make from me off the community. That's the drug dealer. Only the drug dealers to set up the big house, the big walls, but around them is the same constituents or the same neighbors as who using his drugs. But only him got the best. So he want everybody worship him. No, he's not community minded. A community minded leader comes in to see how he could help Ms. Deidre make money. What is it that Ms. Deidre could do that I could help turn that into a business so she could make money and in return pay handshake for service? That's what being a politician or a member of parliament is. He is supposed to be first community minded. How am I going to make money for my constituents who are going, because I'm being paid to do this?
I want to thank you for sharing that. As you mentioned, if you're entering political office, you should be community minded.
You have to be community minded in your actions oriented, not in your words. Because
okay,
it sounds sweet right now, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. You talk about the sweetness. Let's talk about that. There's a few promises being made. So I want to touch on that. I want to touch on the promises.
Okay.
I've heard $100,000 here, $100,000 there for every citizen. I've heard you get $999 if you vote for a party. So let's talk about the
What?
promise. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I tell every person, see, the only thing I can promise gardeners
Do
is
you
a
have any
plan.
promise? Do you have any
Yeah.
promises for your constituency?
Yes, yes. The promise is from you elect me, we have a plan that will work for us. See, success, see, you if you plan to if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And then if you see, remember now, Mrs. Moss, I write business plans for a living. Okay. So when I came into this country, I corrected a lot of business plans financially because persons did not generally knew how to break the plan down financially. Take the vision, because you know how processes. First, you have the vision. The vision is the overall scope of the business, what you see at the end, what you see, the hopes, the end result, that's the vision. Person like myself, take the vision and break that down into plan to show you how to take you from zero to the end. That's the plan. Every plan has a cost associated with it in achieving each goal. You have to identify that. There are certain steps in your plan that you could take that may not cost you anything, but could make you something. That's called service. All you see, I started my fencing company off a service and Facebook. I went online, I made a post. The people called me. I walked to the project, inspected it, got paid for assessment. She agreed on the spot, paid a deposit, walk home with the money, got some food for as I walk home, stopped to the shop, purchased some food for my daughter for lunch, because she's eat every day, 4 times a day, because she take meals 4 times a day, so she have to eat. So I have to make money every day, okay? So I can't be begging nobody for nothing. So I had to learn how to take advantage of mediums that are free, but could generate some income for me. Then I had to be able to build my business that I could make it flexible enough that whether I make $250 a week or $250 an hour, I'm able to meet the minimum financial goal to meet me and my wife's needs a week. Because it's only me working. I'm homeschooling. My wife is being homeschooling, being home from employment and working in her own business from my daughter was 3. Okay, so we had to create ways to keep us living within a means to survive, to be to the point, to learn and to provide communication publicly for persons who may be struggling and was in opposition. Okay, bam. So I tell persons I don't pay Facebook, but I have people calling me on Facebook every day. I don't. Facebook is what generates leads for my business. If you understand how to generate leads, I trained in network marketing. So I approach my business as a network marketing component. When persons refer people to my business, once they as approved agent, they make commissions. Okay, so I pay for referrals. Not many businesses does that. Okay, my business is mobile. So imagine the amount of funds I'm able to save in my business if I was able to transition into a electric car. Now, just to test the government, here's what I did. I applied to Bahamas Development Bank for a loan to purchase an electric car, and they turned me down. Okay, I said to the woman in October, I said, if you're going to say no, give me a quick no versus giving me a slow no. It took them February when I wrote them and had to get upset and wrote an email to her boss, who's the man in charge of Bahamas Development Bank. I had to let them know, like, come on. If a person's showing you how we can pay, if I'm telling you that I don't have to find more money to pay for your car, that you can lend me and pay for your loan, what is the problem? I don't have to go and find more money. I take in monies from my gas, which is sufficient because I'm spending almost $800 a month minimum to operate my business in transportation and fuel. Okay. Easy car sales. Say if you have a deposit of $6,500, you would be able to walk. You could drive off with a car and pay $800 a month for car. Bahamas Development Bank didn't even want to give me $6,500 just to go as a down payment to get the car, and I could still meet the month payments. But the government every day saying they helping the average Bahamian. This is why I say to them, the independent voice is dangerous to the party system because the party system publicly can lie to you, but not me. You see, I have to tell Ms. Deidre the truth. We have
And so you
institutions.
definitely support independent candidacy.
Yes, I support.
So as we
independent
close,
government.
do you have any additional comments that you would like to add as we come to the end of the session?
What I want Bahamians to take this time out in this as we wait. Okay, don't beat up on the new faces, because what I recognize is Bahamians like beat up on us who trying to make a difference because we in their party who they like. Because we in FNM and PLP or DNA or whoever, they beat up on the independent voice. But these the same people, they wouldn't be willing to give something new a chance. Okay? Okay? When you see, Mrs. Deidre, when I found out that government is corrupt, when I found out that our government is taking taxpayers' money and be giving out these people who want these projects millions of dollars to fail, I wanted to be poor with my Bahamian people. I wanted to suffer with them because I know that once they recognize the corruption in their government and how they start to not listen to the sweet talks, but watch the action and to do their own research and homework, then they will recognize that Anshel is a real G. He's a real man because he rather not move out the ghetto and live gated because he know he's stealing from the people. I rather stay in the ghetto. I rather live with the people. I rather walk. I rather eat grits and tuna. I rather eat all these things. So when I get put in a position to create a plan, the plan is success because economy requires two people, a merchant and a consumer and a product. There has to be a point of exchange. So we recognize that there's a vast amount of people in Garden Hills that is able to create products and services. I could sell that to consumers. So if I only have just a constituency of merchants, if I turn the entire Garden Hills into merchants, they can be rich because they can have customers. That's my job. I'm a salesman.
And that's your goal. And I want to thank you for sharing. And also, do you have a page that you would like to share as we close?
People can visit me on my personal page. I want to keep it simple. Persons in Gardeners who want to reach out to me don't have to come to me. I can come to them. They can voice note my phone number is 804-0791. They can contact us. We have 15-minute slots allocated for persons that want to meet with me. I come into you. I want to establish. I want to continue the campaigning. I don't want to be the person who's showing up on your door unannounced and so excited for your vote. And then when I win, like Ms. Hamilton them does, they put the secretary in the office who don't know anything and just tell you she ain't there and come back. And then she come to office once a week for 1 hour to say she doing people business. No.
So you're a man of the people, Mr. Hanchel.
Yes.
And I want to thank you so much for sharing with us today. I want to thank you for sharing this information. And I want to thank our viewers for listening in. And so like and support Mr. Hanchel if you believe in what he is sharing today. Like and support our page, Can We Talk? You can subscribe to us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Sorry, Mr. Hanchel.
I have 30 seconds?
Sure.
You talk about the 100,000. Let me just give Lincoln a 1-up and a 1-down. Yes, every Bahamian can get 100,000, but that's just shopping money, as the bar say. Because every Bahamian could get more than 100,000. Every Bahamian could get up to 1 million, 2, 3, 4 million. Because what I recognize in my studies is sand is the oligarchs currently trade sand on the low trading value. What it does is they ship the raw sand out the country and give us $2. They make us think that the sand isn't as valuable. When it reaches foreign, they then convert that to silicon. Silicon is also sand, but it goes through a chemical process where it mixes other earth elements to form this next earth element called silicon, a sand. Okay, that is then heated down and then poured. But when that is converted to silicon, it is metallic. It's like a metallic crystal. That is then traded at its highest trading value. You notice that if you Google semiconductors right now globally, we're having a semiconductor shortage. Microchip shortage. Everything in technology is the silicon. I want to open up a processing plant in Garden Hills where we convert sand to silicon and traded at its highest trading value, backed our economy with that, our cash reserve with silicon, like gold, because gold, sand is the new gold. They're fighting wars for sand now. So once we convert sand into silicon and trade that globally, we now is the savior of the world. The Bahamas living in what the world fighting for. I want the Bain people to know that yes, Lincoln Bain them could give you 100 grand and more once we know how to do it right. And Garden Hills is going to be the pioneer in this endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Hancho, for sharing today. Like and support our page, Can We Talk? And I want to thank you for joining us for the session and sharing your platform with us today. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Hancho, and we look forward to hearing more from you. And you're welcome back anytime. Okay?
And listen, you could be the only person who I ain't going on no one else talk show but Bodhi, you and Bodhi. When you call me, I ain't going on no E-News, I ain't going on no R-News, I ain't going on none of them. They can check my Facebook page at Kareem Hancho or Can We Talk or Bodhi Show. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Day.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Hancho.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one.
Yes.
Okay.